Some of you guys may think it's the middle of nowhere in Nevada. For us, it's not. But as I'm going to a place I grew up, it's early in the morning, and this is just to give you an idea what it looks like out here. Well, what are we looking at? Well, this is what we grew up around. This is the military industrial complex. And let's see, it doesn't allow me to zoom in. Let's see, there we go. This is what we grew up around. And what are they guarding? They're guarding the communications, or to appear like it. But, just the norm of this, this was normalized growing up. Jets flying low. The jets used to fly so low that we used to wave at them, the pilots. We stand up on the hill and wave at them. And at that time, I was just a little kid and really not knowing, I just kind of thought it was really cool, these jets flying over, waving at us. Meanwhile, our tribe was at that time fighting the fly, the no-fly zone before it's really known as a TFR. The no-fly zones out there flying over our sacred sites and hunting grounds and doing dogfights out there in disregard of the tribe, the community, and anybody who's got, at that time, majority of the community, had horses and cattle, and that's what they did. The assimilation process had worked to kill the Indian, save the man, and make them farmers and ranchers. And this is the norm out here, though. And this is in our homelands. So this is right off the road, and we're saying right off the road. I mean, it's like really right off the road. And so, just sharing with you a little bit of the history of what Paiute and Shoshone people here in Nevada are dealing with at first contact for 62 years to current, the military industrial complex, and how the mining industry has that support here in protecting these corporations, protecting these international corporations. And, you know, we've watched the natural law change, meaning we've watched the water go down from the use of these mines. We've watched streams dry up, deforestation. We've watched places where we used to hunt no longer be able to hunt because of the bombing ranges. Um, the loss of our sacred sites from the bombing ranges and places that we hold sacred, and the desecration of these for when you say thank you for your service. It's a different meaning for me, because I'm thinking that the desecration of our sacred sites, the killing, murder, rape, genocide, the things that we experienced in only a few generations here in Nevada. Nevada is only 170 years old. My grandma, who had passed a few years ago, used to share stories that her grandma shared with me. So this is a story. I'm a witness. I'm a survivor of a mass genocide across the United States that we can articulate. And in Nevada, it's still fresh, but we can articulate what's happening in other countries because it happened to us here. And so this is an example. This is an older version of what we witnessed at Standing Rock. And at Standing Rock, what we witnessed was an Avenger with missile launchers on it, just like this. That was for the drones that we were flying. And it looks like it froze. Yeah, there we go. And so, it's really interesting, that I'm able to share this experience of my childhood with you guys. And as an indigenous person, or Paiute, Agaitika, Nima, Nua, I'm Paiute and Shoshone, and I'm able to share my story as a filmmaker, articulate it as a professor academically, and also Nima Yadawa, Napija Nima Shanami, through indigenous eyes, good thoughts, good words, to just share this story. So my grandchildren, when they go back and look at these videos, this is to warn them that, when we look at corporate greed, we look at Western greed and the land theft, we are the witnesses. And so, what can you do against such greed that demands so much power and military force? That use that, and and there's only 2% left of indigenous people. Once we're gone, the land is yours. You know, and you'll have nothing to live on because the greed will step in. But we survived. We have survived, and we're here. We're still here to share our story. We're still here to share with you what's happening and that it can change. And so, it's just as a reminder, I'm heading back home where I grew up as a kid, and this is just the reminder. I'm an hour away from town and an hour and a half away from where I live, but this place is in the middle of nowhere, right on the side of the road, protecting a communication center. It's an older rig, but it's just so I just can't believe how normal this was growing up. The area that I just left, around the corner on the other side of this mountain, is a full-on fledged bombing range. And I was thinking, wow, when we were kids, there used to be a place called it's called Frenchman Flats. You can Google it, and we used to see these jets fly and bomb. I mean, not realizing that one can go rogue and kill us. But when we were kids, there used to be a store there. We used to stop there all the time and jump on the trampoline, and it's gone. And there's another store down the road that survived. It's not in the bombing range area, but it's on the corner of what they call the loneliest highway in the United States is Highway 50. But in this land that seems like there's nothing here, there's an abundance here. There's medicines, traditional medicines, there's food. The natural law is kicked in here. The animals, there's rabbits, rattlesnakes, deer, antelope, mountain sheep. There's quite a bit of that still left. It's hard to find, but it's still there. And one of our hardest seasons this year has been hit with our traditional harvesting areas, our tibapi, our pine nuts have been hit hard, extremely hard. It's hard to find. And we also had to fight the corporations for that. The Forest Service issue out contracts to sell our traditional medicine. A lot of people don't know that. If you ever see pine nuts in the store, or eat them at fine restaurants, there are foods, our traditional foods. And that's this year we didn't have pine nuts at our pine nut blessing because there was not enough to feed the community. And those are the struggles that we go through. But there's enough for corporations to overharvest them, and that's the profit over the people right there. Especially when it comes to protecting indigenous lands and indigenous communities. We have the smallest voice. The invisibility in what we say and share doesn't get out there much to the masses. And it's the same story over and over. Protect sacred sites, protect the water, protect the land, protect our most vulnerable. And it seems like the profit over people is what overshadows that. And we can tell you definitely, well, Nevada is one of the richest states in mining. The tribes do not get 1% of that. It's not only was it encroachment and land theft in Paiute territory here in Nevada, Reno, Nevada, Las Vegas, Alco, Nevada, Winnemucca. Um, it's happening again as we move into the global demand for lithium, and we try to look for the green new energy here. But for tribes, we know that's more mining, more water, and so there's more greenwashing happening. Just because you don't live in these isolated areas or live in these communities, it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you where you're at. It affects Mother Earth. It affects you. Affects the water. It affects you. Water has that memory in it, and the land has that memory, and it'll offset it. And we're going to start seeing more in the next 10 years of the cause and effect that's happening here from the more that we want and need in our households. And so, what's the solution? Well, I think the solution may be just to take a little bit of time and appreciate what we have. Take a breath, nanishtahai, thankful for that breath of life. Take a moment to just appreciate what you have and not what you don't have, but what you have. If you can walk, if you can talk, if you can see, if you can feel, appreciate what you have, not what you don't have, but what you do have. Pija namashinama yadawa nanishtahai. Pija yadawa nanishtahai Delbino. Have a good day. Many blessings your guys' way. This is just a story from Marandui, Digital Smoke Signals, Paiute, Shoshone, Nimaniwa, Nanania, Ohoba Shinami. Strong Thinker is my Paiute name, Ohoba Shinami. And I'm going to continue to update you guys as a witness. I am a witness for my people and my grandchildren. And I'm going to continue to share the stories that we've went through and survival of Western contact and Western encroachment, continued Western encroachment. If you want to support, you can also sign up on digitalsmokesignals.com. A lot of these projects, a lot of the, I think, just in service to our community. I don't even say projects, in service to our community, um, is done immediately. So whatever you support helps. And just want to say thank you. Many blessings. I'll come live again when I get to where I grew up, and I'll show you the area that is so isolated. It's unreal. I mean, it's an hour dirt road. Never really thought about it, but as I drive out there, we had no lights, running water, outhouse. I mean, at one time that was just normal. And rabbit hunting and fishing and harvesting out there, and it's just a trip. It's just really, now everything is convenient. You stop at the store, you get all those things, and you don't know what it is you're eating. So with that, bijat dumia, have a good day, relatives, and I will be in touch with you guys again just to give you an update. And I am a witness when my grandchildren watch this video. This is what we survived. Bijat dumia, hope.